All right. Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to Minds Behind Music. I am your host, LA. Today is a special topic. Today is a topic that I came up with last Friday when I was going over the cringe performance of the week for last week, and it was on the Bon Jovi performance, which really got me thinking, how do certain vocalists maintain their voices to sing as well as they did in their prime and to keep that range that they had? And for today, I found 2 articles and 1 YouTube video that I want to talk about with you guys. So, let's hop into this. The first article I want to go over is this one in particular, how Paul Rodgers preserves his voice as he ages. So, let's get into it, shall we? In the latest episode of Ask Bad Company frontman Paul Rodgers asked what he does to keep his voice in such great shape after 5 decades. He responded, see video below, it's something you live with. Really, I do a lot of warming up before I go on stage. Actually, if I've got a heavy tour coming up, let's say Bad Company or something like that, I'll warm up for weeks, maybe a month before, and I'll just do it very gently. And I just do that really until I feel stronger, and I do it more and more each day until I can get to full strength. And just warm it up. I drink a lot of ginger tea because I find it's very helpful and it's healthy for the whole body. Actually, as well. You just get ginger roots, peel it, stick it in a pan, boil it, and put a couple of spoonfuls of honey in it. It's beautiful. That is a very common, it seems like what he's trying to say is it's not something to overcomplicate, which really it isn't. It's not something to overcomplicate in when you're, preparing your voice. All you got to do is warm up, and it doesn't. And I don't mean just continuously practice scales. It could be breathing exercises. It could be just talking. I know talking helps a lot. That a lot of people say that counts as warming up, and a lot of people just do exercises here and there, and that counts as warming up, just as long as you're doing something. And I think that's my takeaway from what he said. Let's continue. Last week, Rogers, who has been a Canadian citizen for nearly a decade, took to his social media to confirm that he was very much alive. For some fans, apparently he thought he had passed away. The confusion stemmed from the fact that Brian Howe, best known as the singer who replaced Paul Rodgers in Bad Company, died of a cardiac arrest on May 6th. Yeah, that was this year, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't remember if it was this year. This article is from last year or May of 2020. So, and we're in 2021 now. I know a lot of the people that go to school are going to have trouble writing down what year it is. They're going to be like, "Oh, it's 20. I'm going to write down this day 2020. Oh, wait, 2021." Like, I know everyone's still in that phase cuz we're only in the month of January. But let's see. The 70-year-old British icon got his Canadian citizenship in 2011, 4 years after marrying British Columbia fitness expert Cynthia Caroluck. the 1984 Miss Canada title holder, best known for the long-running series, Everyday Workout. Rogers ranked number 55 on Rolling Stone's list of 100 greatest singers of all time. And as I know a lot of people know Rogers for this, but Rogers fronted Queen between 2004 and 2009 with Rogers at the mic. Queen embarked on 2 world tours and released an album, The Cosmos Rocks, in 2008. They amicably parted ways a year later when Rogers returned to Bad Company. As vocalist with Free, Bad Company, and The Firm in the 1970s and 80s, Rogers reportedly sold more than 90 million records. Now let's see what this video says. Oh, bear with me, guys. I forgot to add the sound. I didn't. Excuse my technical difficulties there. I'm just going to go to it because I don't want to risk getting blocked from the song. So I'm just going to go straight to what he says in the video.
Hi, Sherry. Paul Rogers here. Thanks for your question about how I look after my voice and your very kind words about how I've maintained it. It's something you live with, really. I do a lot of warming up before I go on stage. Actually, if I've got a heavy tour coming up with say Bad Company or something like that, I will warm up for weeks, maybe a month before, and I'll just do it very gently, that sort of thing. La 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 la, and I just do that really until I feel stronger, and I do it more and more each day until I can get to full strength. Something like whale or something like that, and just warm it up. I drink a lot of ginger tea because I find that's really very helpful. It's healthy for your whole body actually as well. And you just get ginger root, peel it, stick it in a pan, chop it up, stick it in a pan, boil it, and put a couple of spoonfuls of honey in it. It's beautiful. Yeah, thanks.
All right. So yep, that's pretty much what he said about how he takes care of his voice. But the next one I want to talk about is, as everyone knows, the main vocalist from Iron Maiden, or is the vocalist that everybody knows and loves from Iron Maiden. And that is Bruce Dickinson. This, as some of you know, I am also a vocalist. I am the vocalist of Progress Avenue, and Bruce Dickinson. I've gone on record saying Bruce Dickinson is one of my biggest influences when it comes to singing and when it comes to just vocalizing and anything related to vocals and just my music as a whole. Bruce Dickinson has been one of my biggest influences. But let's see what this article has to say. Bruce Dickinson on how he keeps his vocals strong. There is no denying that Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden has pristine vocals and one of the best set of pipes in metal, which I can honestly agree. So how does he keep his vocal cords healthy year after year? Speaking with the Do You Know Jack radio show and host Jack Antonio, Dickinson explained that while he doesn't do anything specific, he does take special care of his pipes when it's the gigging season. And this is what Bruce Dickinson himself said. I just keep the same old regime that I always do, which is don't abuse them, Dickinson said on the show. I think the thing about being a singer, it's a bit like you've been an athlete or anything where you use your body. You become aware of it, and you're probably more aware of it than other people who have never done that. which a lot of which is pretty normal for a lot of vocalists or a lot of dedicated vocalists out there. They'll they view their vocal cords or like just their vocals and their lungs, they view it as a temple and they view it as, this is precious and I need to maintain it and I need to take good care of it or else something will happen and I won't be able to do what I love doing anymore. And as some of you don't know, I'm going to give a little insight on Bruce Dickinson. I think that he is by far one of the greatest, if not the greatest vocalist in all of metal. I think in regards to his technicality and the fact that his vocals, like he can still perform live just as strong as he did, say back in the 80s when he was doing the Live After Death uh tour, like the Power Slave tour, which I personally think is the prime of Iron Maiden because I love Power Slave and that's my favorite Iron Maiden album. But if you ever get a chance to see a band with great performance quality, if you ever want to see a band that still performs as well as they did in their prime, definitely see Iron Maiden because you are getting your money's worth. I saw them back in 2019 for the Legacy of the Beast tour, and I could tell you I have no regrets. That was one of the best concerts I have ever been to. But onto the rest of the article. But Dickinson added that if you get a real performance out of your voice, that's a pretty if if you get a real performance out of your if you have to get a real performance out of your voice, that's a pretty stupid thing to do because then the next day is hard work. You can stress your voice, all kinds of stuff. It's just an awareness of things. If you're going to do a 100-meter sprint and you're a 100-meter sprinter and you're really good, that's the last thing you want to do is go out and play a heavy game of football the night before and get kicked in the leg or something. That's kind of dumb. That's kind of a dumb thing to do. But if you aren't going to be racing the next day, it wouldn't matter. Dickinson's book, "What Does This Button Do?" arrived in the U.S. October. Oh, that's just advertising. But if you definitely want to check out the book, the name is called "What Does This Button Do?" and it was written by Bruce Dickinson. I could write the title on to here. Let me just write it here. Oh, I didn't realize my mic was there. Sorry if you guys heard that. What does this do? I just want to see it right there. It says, "What does this button do?" It's by Bruce Dickinson, and I I assume that's one of his many autobiography books or his books on touring. I could even look that up for you guys later. But I think what Bruce Dickinson was talking about in this article in particular is like it's okay to like have like a cheat day or a cheat day for for singing and all that. Like, you don't have to be aware of everything you eat 90% of the time, but it's good to do so. And especially if you're about to perform, be mindful of what you eat. And I mentioned that last Tuesday on maintaining your voice slash range. You have to be mindful of what you eat before you go and perform. I said like, if you enjoy dairy, you enjoy stuff like that, that's fine. Just don't have them when you're about to perform because like I said in that video, it's going to do more harm than good. And like what Bruce Dickinson said, it's going to do you more harm than good. You can have that stuff, just have it when you're not performing and when you're not near time to perform because that will hurt you. And more or less, you don't want to go up on stage and sound like this. Definitely don't. And I think what Paul Rogers is maintaining is the message that I said before on Friday's show, and that was take care of yourselves, vocalists. Just be mindful of what you do and what physicalities you're capable of, which goes on to my next topic or the next video I want to show you guys, and that is Joey Belladonna on vocal health that works. It's only a 40-second video, but here, let's see what he says.
I'm really, really cautious of just trying to get some sleep. I eat different. I'm not sure that may be helpful to somebody, but it sure helps me. I got a lot more energy too if I'm eating more properly. It's just you got to take care of yourself. I just think the more things you do that will hinder yourself. I mean, maybe you don't talk as much. Again, sleep is very important. Again, you have to really pace yourself. I mean, some people go for it for so much, so fast, and maybe just go way beyond their needs. And all of a sudden now you're out of gas. You don't have much. And then you get another night, and you might want to be cautious of that too. So pacing yourself is really a good thing. It's funny because vocals somehow,
And that's basically what he brings up on that aspect, is just, be mindful. Like I said before, be mindful of the things you do. Don't push yourself too hard, and just take care of yourself. And just so you guys are here, and as long as you guys are here watching, drink your water. Drink it. Come on, man. Come on, family. You got to drink your water. If you don't drink your water, you're hurting yourself. You're literally saying I'm going to hurt myself if I don't, because I say that I don't drink water. If you don't drink water, you're literally saying I'm going to hurt myself. And you don't want to hurt yourself, especially if you're singing. The problems that I pointed out with Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer performance on the Cringe Performance of the Week was essential to what I am talking about today. And that's, don't push yourself too hard. Figure out your right techniques. Know what you're doing. Pace yourself. As what Joey Belladonna said, pace yourself. Don't go past your limit because you want to sound a certain way. I get that. A lot of people want to have of like the vocal range of Freddie Mercury or Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire, or have that power in their voice like Paul Rogers or Bruce Dickinson, but you have to pace yourself. You got to train yourself and work your way up. It's exactly like working out. You can't just start out with all of the weight, because you're going to have trouble and you're going to hurt yourself. You have to start small and work your way up. And that's the same thing with singing. You got to pace yourself, and you have to figure out what fits you and fits your range best. And the reason why I chose these three vocalists in particular is because they're shining stars in their genres and in what they do. I don't know a lot of vocalists that have that same mentality or level of strength that they do, because if you look at Paul Rogers, he's in his 70s and he could still sing, he still has the range that he had when he was singing in Bad Company. And that's the same thing with Bruce Dickinson in Iron Maiden. He's in his early 60s and he still sings as good as he did when he was performing. He still sings as good as he did when he was performing back in the 80s. He still has his range. You want your range? Take care of yourself. You want to still have the same power in your voice? Follow what could help you. Drink your water, and just know your limits as well. I'm guilty of that too. I never figure out my limits, and I really need to do that, and I really need to figure that out as well. I sometimes get lost and don't know what my limit is, and that's where you have to stop and think, what is this going to help? This might sound good in my head and in my opinion, but it won't be good for my voice. And Joey Belladonna is another example of, maintaining his voice, because I look at him, compared to the other big four thrash bands that perform that still perform today. And I see that they're still performing the same way that they did in the 80s compared to Megadeth or Metallica, which this is no disrespect to Megadeth or Metallica. They're great bands, they're talented bands, and they know how to put on a show. But if we're talking about the facts, Joey Belladonna is a prime example of taking care of your voice. He still has that range that he had when he started out with Anthrax, and that will influence people to want to see you live. The last few things, just remember, take care of yourselves, vocalists, and drink your water. There's no other things that can be said that was better than what these three guys have said. And all I have to say is, if you want proof, see how they performed first in the 70s and 80s, and then look at one of their recent concerts or recent shows, and then you could find what they sound like. You could have that. You could honestly, you could disagree with me and say, well, I don't like how they sound. I don't like this. I don't like that. And that's totally fine. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But all this all that I wanted to mention for you guys is just take a page from their books and learn how to take care of yourself. There are so many things you could learn from vocalists, even if they're not in your genre. You could definitely have a look and see what do they do to take care of themselves, and what do they do to make sure that they could still sing as well as they did in their prime. And that's how I want to end it, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one. Tomorrow, I will be doing another voice lesson, or I'll be doing another maintaining your voice /range episode. And this time, it will be about food you should consume, or drinks that you can have. And just keep on the lookout for that. It's not going to be a live, but it will be a video that I upload tomorrow. I will be doing lives on Wednesday and Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Wednesday will be at 1:30, Friday will be at 2 p.m. But that is all for now, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Have a happy Monday. And as always, stay tuned.